All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about the Houston Texans, folks. They're 7-5. They've won 4 out of their last 5 football games, and this is thanks to their 22-17 victory over the Denver Broncos. And keep in mind, guys, the Denver Broncos are not an easy out. They were the hottest team heading into that game in the National Football League, having won 5 straight football games. That defense is not the 70 points given up to the Miami Dolphins defense. That was not an easy victory, and CJ Stroud and the Houston Texans pulled it off. Their defense stepped up, but Denver's defense in that 5-game winning streak gave up just 16 points per game. So if you watch that game Sunday, you know exactly what I'm talking about. That was not an easy victory. The defense really stepped up. And speaking of the defense, with my man Jimmy Ward, I noticed this in the offseason, and Texans fans also noticed this in the offseason, and now people are starting to come around to it and noticing it. A lot of their additions in free agency this past offseason are guys with something to prove, guys with chips on their shoulders. So clearly, this team is well coached. They found their guy in CJ Stroud. They had a phenomenal draft. You got guys like Tank Dell. I know his injury sucks. We'll talk about that later on. Tank Dell, Will Anderson Jr., CJ Stroud. There's 3 stars right there. 2 of them are probably at least going to be superstars. But a lot of their veterans have chips on their shoulders with edges. And 4 come to my mind immediately: Dalton Schultz, Jimmy Ward, Noah Brown, and Devin Singletary. These are players who have had big impacts leading to victories for this Houston Texans team. And yeah, folks, nobody thought the Houston Texans would be 7-5 looking the way they do right now. I mean, especially at this point last season. But what we're seeing right now is spectacular. So we're going to talk a little bit about Houston, and we're also going to talk a little bit about that football game this past Sunday. But before we do, if you guys enjoy it, be sure to hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily NFL content. Texans fans, I love the city of Houston, one of my favorite cities to visit. And yeah, let's try and get this video to 250 likes. I post a ton of Texans videos, so stay tuned for that. But man, that was a great football win. And it wasn't pretty and it wasn't sexy. And once again, the Denver Broncos are the furthest thing from an easy victory. Russell Wilson, you know, we can sit here and rag on him. Russell Wilson's a fully competent quarterback. All right. He just threw 3 interceptions. Prior to that football game, he had 20 touchdowns to just 4 picks. That was the best touchdown to interception ratio in the National Football League. And they made him look abysmal. They made him look like Nathaniel Hackett's Russell Wilson. So that defense was huge. And when you look at the defense, like there's not big time, you know, you've got some freaking studs on that team, but a lot of guys like Derek Stingley Jr. with 2 interceptions. I mean, he's a freaking star on this team. So when we zoom out on this team, they've got dogs. They're having a ton of fun. Even D'Amico Ryans is having a bunch of fun. They're extremely competitive with loads of youthful talent and great coaching. I've got a star linebacker. I've got a star left tackle. I've got a star quarterback. I've got a star wide receiver. And then I've got a bunch of quote unquote veteran guys who are not really old in any way, shape, or form that are making impactful plays week in and week out. All right. So, I mean, the playoffs is a success in and of its own regard. When we take a look at the Houston's remaining schedule, I'm licking my freaking chops here. New York Jets, Tennessee Titans twice, Cleveland Browns with Joe freaking Flacco, and the Indianapolis Colts, who are actually, you know, also shocking a lot of people right now. But Houston's going to make the playoffs. And they're currently 7-5, and obviously CJ Stroud has been a huge reason for it. The dude's leading the league in passing yards. I mean, CJ Stroud, 16-27, 274 yards, a touchdown. What's crazy about it is a lot of the stuff, like, that's a really solid stat line. He threw for over 10 yards per completion, but 16-27, you know, that's not too crazy. 274 yards, that's a very impressive feat. Just one touchdown. More importantly, 0 interceptions, 0 turnovers for the Houston Texans as a whole. But man, I mean, I don't think CJ Stroud played to the best of his ability, and that's what's so freaking terrifying is you're going up against one of the hottest defenses, hottest teams in the league, and they won. You know, this is a team that is winning a bunch of close games. This is a team, once again, that won 3 freaking football games last season. They're still learning how to win. The future is extremely bright, but the present is just as bright, man. These guys are stepping up and making plays. Devin Singletary, getting him and Stingley's name, a little dyslexia going on here. The dude's a freaking stud running back. Dameon Pierce, although he averaged 2.7 yards per carry, Denver, they've got a good defense. All right, we're going to keep emphasizing that. I thought he run fine. I like that 1-2 punch duo. Hopefully Dameon Pierce can get back on track here. But Nico Collins is 9 yards below the 1,000-yard marker. Nico on the season, 59 catches, 991 yards, and 6 touchdowns, coming off a career game. 9 catches, 191 yards, and a touchdown. He averaged over 21 yards per reception. The Tank Dell injury really sucks. The good news is this shouldn't pose long-term issues for Tank specifically, like just wear and tear on the body. So they caught a break there, but we're going to need guys to step up. And when I have a guy who's winning in despite in CJ Stroud, I'm not worried. I just genuinely am not worried, and it gets me even more excited for Tank Dell's comeback story here. Brevin Jordan with a great game, 6 catches, 64 yards in wake of Dalton Schultz. But you've got guys deeper down there. I know Noah Brown had 0 catches. He only had 2 targets. But this is a player, the 2 weeks before he got injured, who was absolutely lighting up and torching defenses. So John Mechie III, still kind of waiting on that, but I'm not worried. It does certainly suck. I actually saw a comment saying, go pick up Juju Smith-Schuster. I actually didn't even know Juju got cut from the Patriots. The Patriots are god-awful, so that wouldn't shock me. But I would not be surprised if they went out there and they picked up, some savvy veteran wide receiver to just help it out. But, we'll wait and see how that situation goes. Defensively, Will Anderson Jr. has had a phenomenal season. I don't know if he's going to be Nick Bosa, TJ Watt. It literally doesn't matter. This dude's got swagger, and he's making huge impacts. And we talked a little bit about this in our last video. You take a look at Will Anderson Jr. or a player like him, defensive end especially, or a linebacker, whatever it is. People like to just look at that sack number. Will Anderson Jr. just had a career game in pressures. He had 2 sacks. The dude made Russell Wilson's life miserable. And the Denver Broncos, Russell Wilson, it just felt like at every point in that football game that they had 0 time to throw that football. Will Anderson Jr. is a gosh darn stud. The dude is a literally freaking stud. Stingley Jr. is a star cornerback in this league. All right, maybe it's because I'm a Packers fan, but I don't think people love to compare him at that draft to Sauce Gardner. I'm going to take Stingley Jr. over him. But guys are making plays, and this defense, led by DeMeco Ryans, they're doing a really good job. And most importantly, they're making star quarterbacks look dazed and confused. Great movie. Might have to give that a watch tonight. I am obviously buying it. I'm buying the Houston Texans. We've been buying them all season. We bought them, the second they drafted both Will Anderson Jr. and CJ Stroud, but they're building a culture. They're building an atmosphere, and it is just absolutely beautiful. They've got each other's back, and you can just tell this team gets it, and their future is so freaking bright. So stay tuned for another Texans video before the next game day. But hope you guys enjoyed it. Hit that like button, hit that sub button if you haven't already. But guys, give me your thoughts on this Houston Texans team right now. Some playoff hopes sitting here at 7-5. Peace.